You got a friend in me.
You've got a friend in me.
Celebrate friendship and beyond during the first ever Pixar Fest with the all-new Pixar-themed fireworks spectacular and your favorite park parades. Celebrate from April 13th through September 3rd, only at Disneyland Resort. Visit Disneyland.com for details.
There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you.
You got a friend in me.
Entertainment subject to change without notice.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of S4, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of this broadcast or podcast without express written consent of S4 is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
Because we don't understand how life formed, it is difficult to estimate this probability. The likelihood of a complex molecule like DNA being created by random collisions of atoms in a primordial ocean is fantastically small. In an infinite universe, it would happen in some places, but they would be very far apart. If we want to find advanced intelligent life, our best bet is to listen for radio signals.
Look up to the stars and the forests that surround. Do you see them? Do you hear them? Are they there? SpacedOutRadio.com presents S4 with Forest Moon Paranormal's Eric Cooper and friends. Also, take the time to join the Forest Moon Paranormal Facebook group.
I knew I should have made a left turn in Albuquerque.
Conspiracy, Area 51, Dogman, Ghosts, Cover-Ups, UFOs. The hidden will reveal itself.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go live on S4 with Eric Cooper.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to S4 with Eric Cooper, broadcasting live from the beautiful mountains of Concrete, Washington. Tonight we are having our monthly round table, where we're going to have everyone bring 3 questions to the table for us to pick apart and discuss. Tonight on our panel we have Eric Markham, our FMP scientist, R. Keith Andrews, astrologist and alien specialist, Michael Hall of UFO I-Team, special guest Tessa Nicole Thomas Peterson of Four Corners Paranormal and the Spaced Out Radio Sunday night host, and Jack Miles, military veteran and former port commissioner, myself, Corey Reese, and your host, Forest Moon Paranormal Zone, Mr. Eric Cooper.
Hey, good evening, S4 and the Concrete community, since we are being listened to by the Concrete community as well. And it's been awesome weather up here in Concrete. And, for those who don't know, FMP has been very busy every weekend at the Upriver Farmers Market over by the swap meet for those that are local. And the farmers market is definitely growing. We now have a boiled peanut maker, which is, I guess that's what you call them, which is great. Vendor, there you go. Yeah, I'm still waking up here. So we don't have boiled peanuts here in the West Coast. That's a southern treat, and there's a lot of Southerners that have migrated to the West Coast, and they live here in Concrete. So I know it's going to be great for them. Izzy included, my mate, and she loves boiled peanuts, so she was thrilled when we met the guy. So tomorrow, if you're listening live locally, tomorrow we are doing a Hazards for Upriver class at 2 o'clock, and naturally come meet everyone in the Forest Moon team at the booth. And on that note, how's everyone doing tonight?
Just great tonight. How's yourself?
Oh, dude, we are, I get cases on the phone, I get cases from Facebook, I get cases from email, and oh my God, yeah, we're pretty slammed, and yeah. So, yeah, not to mention statistics just, screws with my head, and it ain't cool.
Oh, so we're talking about statistics tonight then for you?
No, we're not. I told you before the show, I'll feed you to Bigfoot. I will feed you to Bigfoot.
Oh, my God. That's the only three questions I could come up with.
We are not talking statistics tonight. No, I have enough of that in my textbook. So, before we get started, Corey, I want your friend. I don't know him. I don't know one on the panel's met him. Let's get a real quick, brief bio, real quick from your buddy.
All right, yeah, Jack. If you want to jump in here and kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, go ahead, man.
Well, I grew up in San Diego, California. Went into the Marine Corps, got out. Spent some time in my life doing broadcasting, firefighter, EMT, and kind of just traveled around the world. And then at one time, I decided I was going to run for public office and won. So here's where we're at.
Now, weren't you part of the Judge Advocate General or something like that in the military?
Yes, I worked in the Office of the Staff Judge Advocate, and for layman's terms, that would be like the District Attorney's Office for the military. Worked with NIS and CID at the time, and I guess now it's called NCIS. I helped mostly prepare the cases for trial and did some investigation work with the agents out in the field.
All right. So who wants to go first? Michael. I'm just going to pick on you. What's your first question for the night? Well, and wait. Before you ask your before we get to your question, I heard you got some interesting news. If you want to share with the S4 audience, you got your own show going now.
Oh man, I would really appreciate being to make the first announcement. This is I actually am now going to host Night Dreams Talk Radio on the weekend. It'll be Sunday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. at nightdreamsradio.com. And this is all about the paranormal, just like S4. And I am going to be calling each and every one of you to be on my show.
Nice. That 8 to 9? 8 to 9?
7 to 8
7 to 8,
Sunday.
Okay, I screwed that up. But what time zone?
That is, I'm sorry, Keith, that is Pacific Standard Time.
Nice.
Oh, that creates a problem, but best of luck with it.
Yeah, well, whenever you're rested up let me know because I want you on my show.
Well, the problem is I work at that point.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Only one of us actually gets to be at work and get paid for it while he's on the radio. Hint,
yeah,
exactly.
Right.
I wonder who that is.
I don't know. We're still trying to figure out if he actually works.
I can't wait to call Markham on my show and have him tell me what's going on at work. That'd be really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that can be, depending on who you are, that can be dry. Although I find it rather fascinating myself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now that probably most, I'm going to sound like a complete jerk tonight because most of my questions evolve around this last week and the crap that's been going on in, Facebook land and the paranormal. And we do our rant shows every once in a while, but oh my God, I'm so sick again of the word pareidolia.
Yeah.
And the way experiencers and content, people that are experiencing the paranormal are being treated by our own field. I mean, I've seen probably the worst of it in a while just this week. And I'm not going to mention names. That gets you in trouble, but I actually left a group, just a couple of days ago because, oh my God, we catch a lot of hell about the way we handle cases in our group because we handle them serious. We're an emergency management team. We're not, oh cool, an EVP and cool, a picture. No, we don't really care about a picture and an EVP. We care about the client and getting their peace and the safety of their home back. That's what we do.
Give them a little bit of, give them the help that you give that you're actually, in your case you do, but so many groups, they claim to want to help, and I think they're looking for a sideshow.
Yeah, and they just make it worse.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm so sick of people, oh, you need to go sage. No, you don't. Sage is a Band-Aid. Sage is what you do after the case is cleared. Then you sage. You don't sage immediately because, one, you're going to really tick off whatever's in your home. It's not going to remove everything. It doesn't work that way.
I don't know. I usually sage my chicken.
It's great for cooking with. But... Yeah, so I kind of got attacked here a couple of days ago by another paranormal investigator because apparently we operate like used car salesmen, and I don't know, I just, I get rubbed the wrong way real quick, especially when someone's asking for help and all they want to do is say, you're just seeing things. Oh, were you there when the picture was taken?
I want to actually meet the used car salesmen he's dealing with that are actually being honest.
Yeah.
Right. So on a cool note, though, we do have a consult that works with us on the outside, and he's trying to get us on Coast to Coast. He's trying to get us on. What's that? There's another show, Clyde. You probably know what I'm talking about, Michael. Yeah, he's trying to get us on. He's trying to get us on Clyde Lewis's show. And he has a friend that has his own show that is a fairly famous wrestler. So there's 3 shows that we might be getting on pretty soon, and that'll expand our audience. Reach out to the people that need help more, and so things are progressing. And I always get, we have the booth at the concrete market. Well, a lot of it, not the concrete market, the farmers market. There's too many markets up here to remember them all. But again, we have people, a lot of tourists come through. But we got to ask, so you guys are Ghostbusters? Oh God, I hate that term. And so I was probably kind of rude because I wasn't in a good mood at that point in time. I was like, no, we're not Ghostbusters. We're paranormal. We're a paranormal clearing team. We deal with Bigfoot, UFOs, alien abduction, you name it, we deal with it. Oh, cool! You know, then the attitude changes because yeah, we're not Ghostbusters. I don't like that term. That's about 90% of the groups out there. Yes, they are Ghostbusters, but we're not. Oh yeah. Anyway, you know what? Let's move it. Michael, what's your first question?
Well, I tell you what. First, I have a little small announcement here. We have our buddy Dave Scott listening to us and watching our live stream right now over the UFO I-Team Facebook page. So, hey, Dave, shout out to you.
Hey, Dave.
Excellent.
Hey, Dave,
how you doing, Dave? How's that hair doing?
Yeah. How's the do?
Dave has the most iconic hair in radio, I think. That's iconic. Yeah, well, I would like to ask the group. We're actually, by the way, I'll just make a short announcement. We're the UFO I-Team are up here in the western wilds of Arlington, Washington tonight on a skywatch, and the rest of the gang are out in the wilderness right next to this location that I'm at, that I could find cell service, and they're out there as we speak, capturing some really interesting stuff. Matter of fact, I had to leave early, and there were a couple of flare-ups, a couple of lights in the sky that just blinked on and blinked off. These are like stars that all of a sudden appear and then just blink out. They don't move. And all this was caught on tape tonight, so we're kind of excited to review some of this stuff, find out what we really have. But I'd like to ask the group tonight if they have any knowledge of paranormal activity in the sky as far as UFOs in their neck of the woods, because I tell you, out here in the Pacific Northwest, things I believe are really hopping.
Well, I know out this end I've been watching a lot of, it's not so much what I have seen as the distortion that blocks what you should be seeing, which clearly is a cloaking field.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we had yesterday or the day before, we had 2 or 3 of them floating around over us. Which is always an entertaining little endeavor.
Well, definitely. Yeah, because out here in the Pacific Northwest, our weather is finally starting to clear up. Matter of fact, within the next few days, I believe it's going to be in the 80s out here, from what I hear. That will be fun for us because we have clear skies and have the capability of really capturing some stuff on our night vision video and our stop action photography. Those kinds of things are what we use to do our sky watches.
Yeah, and clear, let's face it, if you get clear weather to try and do your sky watches, it's always much more entertaining. But while you're up there, keep a real close eye on that sliver of the moon, because there's something going on just around if you look at it, around the 7 o'clock mark, there's something going on.
Interesting. Yeah. Yes, it is, and it's very vivid from here. We see that sliver, and at that point, you're right, Keith, is that it's so thin that you can direct your attention to very minute parts of it and capture the anomalous activity up there. So you're saying around 7 o'clock, that's where to look.
Yeah. Looking at the moon as obviously the face of a clock.
Right. Interesting. Okay, we will do that.
And on that, I can't wait until August when UFO I-Team and FMP join together for the Skywatch up here in South Skagit in August. I believe 18th is the date set for that one. Because that's going to be awesome too. Because we're right in the heart of Bigfoot country, right in the heart. And like we were talking last week, Michael says, Skagit County is the seat of Bigfoot activity, UFO activity for the state of Washington. So we're right here in the middle of it all. So you being in Arlington, you're not far from, you're just one county away. So I ain't surprised you're seeing stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just, week before last, we were coming back from Arkansas from burying my Uncle Bill, and we were right outside of Adrian, Texas, and, they have all these poles up with red lights and these solar windmills going on, and there were these lights in between them right before Adrian, Texas, and I was looking at them, and I'm like, what is that? Like, I haven't seen that for, hundreds of miles. And it started to raise up above the red lights, and then it would lower down below the red lights, and then raise up again. I was like, oh my God, I think that's a UFO. And my brother was like, no, that's just a lookout tower or something like that, or lights on a wire. And I was like, look at it. It's raising up, and then it's lowering down, and then raising up again and lowering down. And we're not going up and down hills. It's just a straight shot. And so that was pretty cool. I haven't ever seen a UFO with, lit windows on the top. So that was a nice sighting for me. And he didn't realize it was a UFO until it shot off. And he was like, that was definitely a UFO. And I believe that was the first one that he had seen. So that was pretty epic.
Oh, yeah, that one, the first ones are always the ones that stand out.
Yeah, that was the first for him. I've seen, alien orbs, but that's the first, shuttle type craft that I've seen. It was pretty awesome.
Now, Keith, on that one, what race would that be with the shuttlecraft?
Well, there's a couple that it could be. Depends on the actual configuration of the shuttlecraft, but the consortium quite often has various shuttles out. The ones that you watch for, though, just out of curiosity, did you get a configuration on the shuttle?
It appeared to be about 20 to 30 feet wide, and it had a disc at the bottom and then the lights on the top. And you could see about, I say lights, but it was windows with lights coming through. There were about 6 windows on the top. But yeah, 20 to 30 feet in width, I would say, and maybe 60 feet in diameter. I'm not sure.
Okay, so we're talking disc, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason being there's also rectangular, but being disc, you are very likely looking at an observation shuttle from the Greys. That being said, it would not be a shock to find out it was the Nords that were actually running it, as they're, let's say, hand in hand with the Greys more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
One thing's for certain is you're dealing with a non-aggressive.
Yeah, it seemed like they were interested in the solar or, how the windmills collect the energy from the air and then they store it in the batteries or whatnot. It seemed like they were just checking it out because it was, like I said, it seemed like hundreds of miles worth of windmills. It was crazy. That's billions of dollars. But, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Now, Keith, did you ever find anything new about why the consortium battleships would be over Cape Horn here last weekend?
Well, yeah. And the reason for that is because of the fiasco that's going on. From the consortium standpoint, from any off-world standpoint, right now, mankind is teetering on a very difficult edge. And it's, from their standpoint, extremely exciting as far as the radio chatter that's going back and forth. While they're watching how mankind decides to navigate its way through this societal transition, and I mean the global society, because there's so much up in the air, to be watching this firsthand when you're looking at sociological evolution, it's extremely exciting, very, very enjoyable, and to say the least, if you think, if you think in terms of the ramifications of simple decisions of if you will, minor players, they're trying to calculate out just exactly how quick those minor players are going to become major players at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, let's face it, that's a hotbed down there as far as decisions go, especially for the, frankly for the states, but also for the planet in general. There's a lot pivoting on that area.
Okay, switching topics. Michael, you made your announcement. What's your question now?
Oh, well, my initial question was just to have everybody chime in if they've seen anything within the last week, and or if they haven't seen anything regarding, UFOs, extraterrestrial phenomena, if they've heard of anything in the news, because I'm still waiting for the next disclosure bomb to hit, and I'm wondering if anybody's heard anything about that.
And that's going to be Dave's topic at Paracon, is actually disclosure in the media. I mean, why the media is so corrupt as far as assisting with the disclosure project.
Yeah. Joyful. That ought to be entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Well, so far as I've seen, there's lots of UFOs in the news lately as far as sightings.
Yes, there seems to be a opening of the media in actually starting to report these things, which is kind of unusual.
Mm-hmm. It's refreshing.
Well, a big part of that, I think, is simply put that, anytime the media finds some type of bandwagon to jump on to bring more ratings in, well, this is starting to do such a thing, so you're going to see more of them jumping on it. That's just kind of the way mass media is nowadays.
Yeah, well, it's the way it's always been, in all fairness.
Okay, Tess, what's your first question tonight?
Well, I was seeing this thing about the Betz sphere and wondering, is that an alien probe or an atomic weapon? Keith, would you have any idea on that?
You did. Did I hear you correct? Say the Betz sphere?
Yeah, BETZ.
Okay. Yeah, I was putting it with an S going, what? No, that is, they could probably use it as a weapon, but that thing is a probe.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's a scanner, if you will.
Well, and I think that actually goes in line with, just recently there was a sighting over Whidbey Island Navy base. They don't have nuclear, they don't have any kind of missile capacity or capability. And, it actually, I believe, did hit the news. What would that be? Because I think that'd be close to what Tess is talking about.
Well, don't forget, just because they don't have necessarily public nuclear capability, they do have sensor readings coming off the bottom end of that. Because, and I don't know, let's face it, I'm not, if you will, legally connected to any of the military side of things, but there are new communication wavelengths that are being worked with that go beyond your radio and your and the sonic resonance, because I got wind a little while ago that somebody is now looking into both photon and X-ray communication lines.
Okay.
Using those two wavelengths.
Okay. Okay, Corey, you got a question for us?
I've been thinking about that, and I haven't been able to figure out exactly what to form together as a question. And I guess I come back to a question, one that I've asked before, but it's hard to really find an answer for. But you get other people on, and you always want to ask that question: is why is it that people who do work in the paranormal, almost anything it is, have such terrible luck.
I think it's because you're trying to help people, and whatever is trying to harm them wants to attack you to keep you from helping them. That's just my thought on it.
Which makes sense. The other one is, of course, that people, and it does boil down to a similar issue. When you're out striving to help people, most people that genuinely desire to help others forget the karmic law that states you must be true to you first. Meaning they forget to take care of themselves, they forget to protect themselves from the negative energies before opening the door to deal with them. You know, it's more an issue of expediency, so I got to get in there and help, and they totally bypass it. You know, it's just another aspect of the same problem in a lot of ways.
So if I'm understanding you right, you're talking about the ones that are in the paranormal field that are having issues.
Yes, that's what the reference was.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. There's two factors I see at play. One, I agree. It's amazing about 80% of the people that are in this field don't use protection. They don't believe in protection. They don't believe they can have attachments. They don't believe they can have anything follow them home. They don't believe they can be attacked because, well, frankly, what you see on TV, and face it, most of them learn from TV, from the paranormal television shows and whatnot, and they don't feel it, because you got a director that throws a door open and throws a rock across. Nobody really gets hurt. You don't see blood. You don't see scratches. You don't see anything.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if that were the case?
Right. So no, they don't. It doesn't sink into their heads that, well, you can get hurt in the paranormal. You can indeed. And so the other end of it is, I lost my train of thought. I'm just not with it tonight. But I do think protection is the big key with it.
Cooper's train derailed and there was no survivors.
Well, I'm kind of watching the case go on as we're on the show. We have a case in progress, so I am distracted on that.
Oh, time for the fork in the light socket. No, don't try that at home, boys and girls.
I suck at multitasking. Our job is never done, even when we are on the radio. Jack, do you have a question tonight?
Actually, no. I was just in town visiting with Corey, and he asked me to join in. I'm kind of just intrigued by all the variety of topics you guys can bring up. So, good luck in what you're doing, and you guys are sounding great.
All right. So, Markham, real quick, I do have an announcement. So, S4 is an affiliate of Spaced Out Radio. It's also an affiliate of the Fringe FM. And Markham, recently, in the last couple of days, has jumped into a new venture. Now, I'm going to let him take it from there.
Yeah, I'm now proud owner and partner in Joe Roop's The Fringe FM.
Well, congratulations.
Way to go.
Well, yeah, so it's he and I got some work to do, and we're going to get on it this week.
Excellent. And, well done.
Yeah, it's like the only hope I ever have of retiring is get some sidelines going. But no, I'm very proud to have been offered the opportunity and to have been able to, everything seemed, the pieces all fell into place. So I've, still a little nervous about it. I'm part owner of a network now. Damn. And I still haven't got my invite to the cotillion from Rupert Murdoch. So what's up with that crap, Rupert?
Well, not to be facetious here, Markham, but do you have any idea how to retire?
No, he doesn't.
When I say retire, well, no, I'll never fully. Well, I'd like to retire from from my current. I don't want to. I want to retire from work, but I'm always going to be working within the paranormal. I mean, I'll die on a case, or I'll be out in the woods and they'll find me dead in my tent on a Bigfoot expedition. Which is fine.
They won't find you. They'll just pick you up.
They won't find
you.
You'll just go.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said. And that's fine with me. I mean, I've always joked that I was going to crawl off into the woods and die like an old animal anyway. But no, I don't plan on. Retiring ever fully. I'm going to be active in paranormal investigating and in the radio network until there's nothing left. But that's something I will enjoy, so I wouldn't really consider that work. That's just,
No, consider that an investment, though, at the same time.
Yeah, but I'm not planning on pulling anything out of it or doing, having it become income for a while. Anything anything I make or, any profit that I would realize, I want to go right back into the network to improve it and, build. So
and face it, on the science side, you might retire from the lab you're at, but you're never going to retire because you're the FMP scientist. And we don't retire. I mean, technically, I'm medically retired. So, yeah, you don't retire from the paranormal. It's in your blood.
No, yeah, you're right. No, when I say retire, I mean from industry, from the healthcare industry. And even then, with what I do, it's not uncommon to see med techs, working well into their 70s because as long as your brain is active, because it's mental work, it's science, it can be stressful running around at times, but usually if you're the old guy in the lab, you let the young ones do the running.
Yeah, no doubt.
Very smart. Well, I think you and Joe are going to blow it up, I think you guys are going to do big things with it, and I'm really happy and excited for you.
Well, thank you. I think it's going to be a good partnership, and I think it's a new direction for me. It's something I've never done before, and I've been on air. I've been a voice on air, but now I'm getting into the other side of it, and I've actually approached a couple people about doing a show. To have some content, and I'm looking forward to those shows, seeing, and, just because I'm part owner of the network, if my show sucks, Joe's going to say, this isn't good, and I wanted it that way. I wanted Joe to be in charge, to have the majority, shares so he could say, and to be the manager. It's like, I didn't want to say, well, I'm a part owner. You can't tell me I can't have my show because that's a recipe for disaster. If it sucks, Joe will say, dude, it sucks, and it's not going to go on the air. We're only going to, it's only going to be quality. So,
I know you were talking about getting your own show, and, you will. I never doubted you would. Although I will tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised that you went a little overkill on the way to get into it, get a show up and running.
It's like, not offered a show, by God, I'll buy a network. No, no, I don't own. I don't own the network, but I'm a part owner of. Joe Roop still owns the majority share, and it is Joe's network. But I'm there to help and to do what I can to help him make a success with it, or to support him as he makes a success of it.
Yeah, Joe's clearing that up in the chat room right now. That he already offered you. Joe
Joe's brutally honest, but he's got tons of great input.
Oh, yeah. No, he's just clarifying up in Spreaker there that he already offered you the show before the purchase came in.
Oh yeah, we had discussed a program. We had discussed a show, and that's still in the works. But yeah, if like I said, he has some good resources and some training things to look into. That if it's going to be a process. I mean, I don't expect to walk right into it and be the bomb or anything. But I appreciate being given the chance to try.
But here's the deal, too. You and I still need to get together and one of these days get a Veterans Issue show kicked off.
Indeed.
Yeah, that would certainly be.
That's very much something we need to consider, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's going to be...
Maybe since Roop's listening, we can jump into the French and do a Veterans show.
Is he listening? Oh, he's listening.
I
had my work screen up. I didn't have the morning runs coming down. I was seeing how much it was going to land on my plate. But I just feel like I was offered a great opportunity, and I'm proud to be affiliated with, Joe Roop and the Fringe FM.
Oh yeah, it's an excellent. I mean, let's face it, it's a great program, a great network to get connected with. You just went a little more than what most people do.
Oh, I guess. Are you ready for my question?
Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting on the edge of our seats. Here comes Mark's question.
My question? What size shoes am I wearing?
13.
Yeah, I was trying to pull off like a Bilbo in the cave. What's in my pocket?
Land yachts.
One of the things everybody wants disclosure. And I'm one. Don't get me wrong, but if the mothership did appear above your hometown, what effect would that? I mean, what effect would that have on us collectively and individually? I think we see. God damn it! Always gotta be. Anyhow, I mean, what would it be like to wake up one morning and see that thing there? I mean, yes, there's affirmation, but it's like first time you see a ghost or you hear a ghost. It's paradigm shifting. I mean, or it's reality shattering. So, how's that going to affect? For one, I'll be first. I think first off it'd be cool. Then it'd be like crap.
Expletive.
I don't know if I would, go into a form of shock or if it would just be, I really don't know how I would react after the initial, oh, wow, there it is, as it sank in. I don't know. What do the rest of you think?
Well, I know for me, it's a pretty black and white one. For me, on an individual base. It's like, okay, who is it, and let's go talk to them. But I do know from the people I've talked around down here, you put a mothership over top of this city, and it is going to be bedlam in a heartbeat.
That's what I mean. I mean, I've seen the UFOs, but the ones that are way up, you don't see the occupants, you don't see structure, you just see this light that's behaving like there's no traditional aircraft that we know of that we've made on this planet that's behaving like that. Certainly not one, unless they have come up with a way to dampen the inertial effects of an abrupt right angle turn without pulping the pilot on an Earth designed ship. I've seen that right turn. I've seen that come to a stop and disappear. There's things I've seen, but I mean the physical, holy crap, I can see the welds in the hull of this thing. That kind of disclosure, that kind of multi-city, think Childhood's End type of sighting or Independence Day kind of thing.
And, do you think society would be ready for that? Part of me says, yeah, I think they would. The other part says, oh, hell no, there'd be mass panic and pandemonium. And then you want to think
we'll
a step
ever
further.
Be ready?
When it comes to religion, when it comes to society as a whole, with the attitude, I gotta say, you look at the way the paranormal in general treats UFOs, and let alone the social factor of they don't exist anyway. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Imagination. It's good imagination.
We've got this trickle thing going where it's like, and more of the population. To be honest, I don't think anybody really gives a rat's butt. And I don't think, the people who are into it, I guess the phrase is the media is preaching to the choir. There are those of us who do believe it already, and we're getting a little bit of validation. But by and large, I don't think the main gist of the population, we probably haven't gained 2%. New interest or new believers since this soft disclosure began.
Well, that's the majority of people aren't paying attention.
I think Cooper's right on both accounts, though, because I think it's going to be a mixed bag. There are going to be those that are going to look at it and go, cool, yeah, all right, sweet, there it is. There are going to be others on the other side of that fence that are going to be losing their mind. Some UFO shows up that's right there visible. And, and there's probably even going to be a small percent that isn't even going to be able to do anything because they won't be able to figure out what the heck to do. It'll just be kind of like, okay, sure, whatever.
Well, I know you'll get a lot of people, and I've seen it before. Everybody starts running around doing things, and you get that group of people that don't notice what's going on up top, but they notice the pandemonium on the ground.
And they wake up.
Yeah, they'll be looking at it going, why is everybody running around?
I think there's going to be three kinds, and I'll use Independence Day as a perfect example. Well, for two of them. You're going to have the ones on top of the skyscraper going, oh my God, look, they're here. The Space Brothers take us home. Those are the idiots. Then you got the other ones. You got the other ones that are a little bit smarter and going, oh, no, we got to get the hell out of here. And they're in the car crashing into everybody else trying to get out of town, which is fortunate for us. We live in the mountains. We don't got to worry about getting out of town. We're here. We're in the mountains.
You gotta
bring it. But then you got number three that are still going to be blind and going, it's a demon. Get the guns. It's just a demon. The aliens don't exist. It's a demon. They told me that on TV.
Ghosts are demons too.
Right.
Holy mackerel! Is Hollywood getting overboard with the special effects?
And wait. Okay, so it is officially Father's Day. So I got to jump in here real quick and say, Happy Father's Day to all of our paranormal dads out there. Anyway, and face it, some of our listeners aren't paranormal. They found our show and are listening. So Happy Father's Day to the non-paranormal dads too.
Yeah, if you're listening, Happy Father's Day.
Yep. And if you're listening in a month from now, live on KSVU, then Happy Father's Day then, but it'll be in July. But that's okay. Remember, so we are telling you Happy Father's Day on Father's Day. Who have we missed? Has everyone asked the first question? Because we are getting to the last 10 minutes of the first hour.
Well, I haven't asked a question yet, but I've had a lot to say, so...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I've just been looking at something oddly enough, not off-world. I've been looking at the issue of how the heck, because I've noticed around our parks, how you start getting people when they go to the park to pick their own garbage up, never mind anybody else's. Because I watch people at our parks that they go out, they have a picnic, and I kid you not, they walk away and they leave the garbage right where it was.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly why the off-worlders aren't here. You're like, really? You're not going to pick up your own trash, and you're going to come up into into our worlds and leave your trash here too, which we already do, space garbage. But yeah,
yeah, I'm just curious if anybody's got some constructive idea on how to do it. Because, like, I go down to my park, not technically mine, and right in front of the people that are leaving it, I'll start cleaning it up.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I get a little help now, but it would be nice if people would just start doing it on their own.
Yeah, welcome to the human race. That's pretty much all I got to say on that one. Yeah, and again, you don't want to know what they leave in around here. Yeah, we won't even touch that one.
Well, Keith, I've got a comment on that for Keith. Is that you sound like you're the Longmire of your area there. Have you ever seen that Netflix television series about the sheriff in a small Wyoming community that goes out and finds murderers and solves crimes and everything, but one thing he can't stand is litter. And he picks up cigarette butts and old cans off the street whenever he sees it. I thought that was a great aspect to throw into a character on Netflix.
Yeah, definitely it is. And in a sense, you're right. Because I spend a lot of time talking to the kids down there and the adults, especially if I notice they're having troubles. But there's not a group down there I don't get along with, which works out kind of conveniently.
Very nice.
Okay, so Tessa, you asked your question, I believe, did you not? Yeah, you asked a question already. So yeah. I believe everyone's asked a question. I'm going to bring up a topic real quick that was fed to me by another person. And it's interesting because it kind of goes into the conspiracy realm as well as the alien realm. And without taking his topic, because he's going to do a topic on his show, but I want to bring it to the panel as well. So how are those on the ethereal plane going to react? Because you've all heard of population control discussed by the Bilderbergs. How does population control affect the paranormal? I mean, think about it. They're taking away the living.
Oh,
how does it affect the ethereal?
Absolutely. Well, from a quantifiable standpoint, just about non-existent. It's kind of like if you take a shovel full of ants, as in here's a whole mass of people that are passing away, right? Take a shovel full of ants and drop them in the ocean. Okay. That's how much room you've got over in the ethereal plane. That's the kind of room that you're looking at, and that's way understated.
Right.
When you get people passing over, you got to understand there is so much room in the ethereal plane because unlike the three-dimensional plane where people can only occupy, only one person can occupy one space, on the ethereal, everybody can occupy the same space. There is no crowding.
Okay, but let's take this another step. And we already know how angry spirits get now. And this isn't population control. Just think about all the living that, didn't get taken out by population control. And how many angry spirits are going to be stuck here?
Yeah.
Well, that's the neat part, is the more, and this sounds really cold, but the more people that pass away, the more people are going to be drawn here to help the ones passing away. So what you'll find, because I know when we take a look at a major disaster, when you're on the etheric side of it at the time, there is a mass rush when you get a mass group of people coming over all at once. There are a number of spirits that all of a sudden rush over to help. So all you end up with is, it's a little chaotic, but you actually, ratio-wise, you're not likely to see much of a difference.
Okay, that makes sense.
I just wonder, could that not cause, if they were to eliminate a huge portion of the population at once, could that not, or could those souls that had been eliminated not kind of come back at them?
Technically, the answer would be yes, but no.
No.
Karmically, they're not permitted to.
Okay, real quick.
Organize, but that's hard.
But real quick, we got to go to break, so we will carry this on a little bit more, and then we'll get on to our second question. So, Corey, go ahead and take us into break.
All right. When we come back from break, we will continue our monthly roundtable where our panelists bring 3 questions to the table for us to discuss. Tonight on our panel, we have Eric Markham, FMP scientist, our Keith Andrews, astrologist and alien specialist, Michael Hall of UFO I-Team, special guest, Tessa Nicole Thomas Peterson of Four Corners Paranormal and Spaced Out Radio's Sunday night host, Jack Miles, military veteran and former port commissioner, myself, Corey Reese, and Eric Cooper of Forest Moon Paranormal. Join us every Saturday night at midnight Pacific Standard Time. You can find us on Spreaker.com, SpacedOutRadio.com, and The Fringe FM. And for you local listeners, you can catch our shows on KSVU 90.1 on your FM dial on Saturdays from 10 p.m. to midnight. Check out Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott Monday through Friday, Spaced Out Weekend with Joe Roop Saturdays, and Tessa Nicole Thomas Peterson on Sundays, all at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also check out The Fringe FM with shows like Lighting the Void with Joe Roop and a plethora of other good shows. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories, from alien encounters to the latest conspiracies. You won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Would you like someone you can trust to look into it? We have just the place. The SOR Sightlines Report is the place for you to find answers. Whether it's Bigfoot, UFOs, Dogman, ghosts, aliens, or anything strange, the Sightlines Report will get you connected with one of our expert researchers to find out what's going on. All of your personal information is kept 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines Report, a place for you to find the answers you need, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome to Spaced Out Saturdays with me, Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange. Our weekly feature on spacedoutradio.com will take you around the world discussing everything from the paranormal to the latest conspiracies from the top guests in their fields. We won't leave any story uncovered. Spaced Out Saturdays at spacedoutradio.com starting 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
It's Cosmic Sundays with me, Elizabeth Anglin, in Cosmic Passport. Let me take you down a 3-hour spiritual journey where we will get into everything from ET contact to Psychic Sundays. It's a journey of listening and learning together with some of the best professionals in their fields. You can tune in to Cosmic Passport at spacedoutradio.com every Sunday starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed on tonight's show by tonight's hosts and guests are not necessarily those of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Saturdays, Spaced Out Sundays, or spacedoutradio.com. Listener discretion is advised. And now back for hour number 2, we have Corey Ruiz, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal, and S4. You can find Forest Moon Paranormal on Facebook. And for more information on S4, visit spacedoutradio.com. And now, here's Eric Cooper and Corey Ruiz.
Welcome back, everyone. For those of you just joining us tonight, we are having our monthly round table. On our panel, we have Eric Markham, R. Keith Andrews, Michael Hall, special guest Tess Nicole Thomas Peterson, and Jack Miles. Welcome back, everyone.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
I think Roundtable is actually one of our highest listening shows, to be honest with you. So, yeah, and I'm looking at the chat room, and yeah, we're actually up to 114 followers on S4.
Oh,
growing
nice.
show. And next month, we're actually having our 2nd anniversary.
Next month. Come to think of it, ain't that far before we get down to before we have to be in concrete again.
Exactly. No, well, you'll be in concrete for the speakers barbecue for Friday night, but the actual Paracon is in Cedar Woolley. Much bigger, much better venue.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you know where it is, we should be okay.
Exactly. We'll just pick you up on the way through in convoy. And we actually have, so jumping on Paracon real quick, every year we're going to have a different theme. This year, you're the keynote, Keith, because it's aliens. We have an alien theme going. Next year is going to be Bigfoot. So we're going to have, not everyone hears the announcements that there's a Paracon going on, so because it's right off the freeway, and then you get a lot of tourists that come through in August, we're going to sneak down there like the night before and set up a mock UFO crash with, alien bodies around it and whatnot. And then in the morning when we get set up for Paracon, we're going to have a smoke machine. Now, is it going to cause wrecks on the highway? I don't know. It might. It'll still be funny.
Yeah, I
but
think the local constabulary may not find it comical.
It wouldn't be comical, but can you imagine someone that hasn't heard about anything about a Paracon going on? They're cruising down this country road, and oh my God, there's a crashed flying saucer. Has anyone else seen this? Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, the publicity would be great. The only thing you got to remember is make it. If you're going to do that, recommendation would be take a standard saucer-looking vehicle, mock-up, to do it, because that's what people will recognize.
It's going to be a flying saucer, the typical disc that Kenneth R. Coined.
Yeah.
Guys, there is a interesting parallel that you're talking about in this publicity stunt and what happened in Concrete, Washington back in 1930. Do you remember the War of the Worlds broadcast by Orson Welles?
Yep.
I think I've mentioned who this to you before, but Concrete, Washington played an enormous role in the ensuing panic that happened after that show. Because coincidentally, there was a massive power outage in Concrete, Washington, the night of the broadcast of the War of the Worlds. And people in Concrete freaked out, thinking that the aliens were indeed coming. And, of course, their phones were still working, but their lights weren't. And they got on the phone and called everybody they possibly could, including the press. And that story went around the world. That was one of the major things that started that panic from that Orson Welles broadcast.
Yeah, that's actually in some of the historical books of Concrete. Some of the local writers have written about that. I got to address a question real quick, because I did post the booster link, but we do have FMP hoodies and long sleeve t-shirts and short sleeve black t-shirts. We don't have a tank top yet done. Something we'll look at. We're also looking at mugs, we're looking at hats, we're looking at keychains. We already have bracelets. But yeah, we are working on promo material for both FMP and Paracon.
That's fabulous.
And I got to bring this up too, since we're talking about Concrete. In the Vintage Aircraft Museum, which it's either closing or it's already closed, I'm not sure yet. But the original airplane that Kenneth Arnold flew over Mount Rainier when he witnessed the UFOs is actually up here in Concrete, if it hasn't been moved already. I'd love to get in there and see that. And actually, Vince Yasuza, who plans on being on S4 here soon, is going to be doing a vintage aircraft paranormal style show, and he wants to go up here and actually get filming of that. But that's another thing about Concrete. We're dead set in the middle of a paranormal alley, and we have some of the most famous paranormal artifacts up here. But not many people know about that.
No, it's a little under-advertised, if you will. And I mean, let's face it, Concrete could do very well if they, buy, and this is where the Paracon comes in handy, is it can bring this kind of attention in there. Of course, then you have the problem of it's a small town to start with, and you always run into people going, but I don't want it to get bigger.
Especially if it's people from California. I'm just kidding.
Well,
but California already got bigger.
We could never get any real support up here on Concrete, unfortunately. So, I don't know. That's the reason why we're in Cedar
we're not going to breach that subject just right now. But you're absolutely right. We didn't get any serious community support, so we moved it to Cedar Woolley. That's just a sad reality. Some people don't. I don't know if it's. I know I said we're not going to breach it, but you've got me on. Yeah, you've got my blood boiling a little bit. There's some people though that just can't wrap their mind around paranormal, and when it comes to something outside their box, They don't want it to happen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, on that note, we moved to the city early because that venue is right off the freeway. It's going to be a bigger draw. It's going to get the word out. We have outstanding speakers. I've already got people lined up that are wanting to speak next year. But we are a nonprofit. We don't have a huge budget. We don't have a budget to fly people in and on top of the housing and whatnot. So we have outstanding speakers that are able to get themselves here, and we will pay for lodging. That's what's great about the speakers we have. And it's been that way for the last 3 years. Well, this will be the third, but it'd be great to have the kind of a budget to bring in someone like Linda Moulton Howe or David Paulides or David Jacobs or some of the mainstream folks that have been in this field for 30, 40 years. It'd be great. We just can't afford it right now. Maybe one day.
In some ways, that kind of puts you in a lucky position.
It does. It does. We're slowly building, and as great as that is, we're trying to pull in the experiencer that can come to a Paracon in a relaxed environment and learn. If you get someone that's been in the field for 30, 40 years, and you want a basic lecture. You don't want a deep lecture, because a lot of the people you are going to draw in a small community like this needs to learn baby steps, I guess is the easiest way to say it.
Well, yeah, and it's not only a case of baby steps, but you've got to engage them. Many of the extreme veterans that have been on the talk circuit, I've listened to a number of them, and they almost literally sound like a lecture. And for the newcomers that have just your basic questions, the startup questions, they don't get the opportunity to even look at those with your heavy duty ones for the most part.
Right. So yeah, we're a small Paracon, but we are a Paracon. We're not a ghost con. We're not a UFO con. We actually breach all subjects of the paranormal, which is what makes it a Paracon to me. I've been wanting to go to some of these Paracons for the last 20, 30 years, but I can't afford the prices they ask. That's why we only charge $5 at the door. And, the last 2 years have been free. But after a while, free just doesn't pay the amount it costs to do a Paracon. So we are doing $5 at the door.
Which, in all fairness, you won't find anybody functional arguing about a $5 door fee.
No, not by any means. That's why we kept it at $5. And next year we might jump up to 10. Even $10 is still cheap compared to some of the other prices.
Well, I know when I was running with the psychic fairs, we found the moment you put a price on the door, more people came.
Right. And
they sensed that there was a value.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
If it's free, it's like, oh, that can't be anything. But if you actually have to pay, they assume that there's a value added there. That weird psychology.
That's part of it. The other thing it does is it stops the problem children, because the problem children that are just coming in to be annoying, if you will, won't want to pay the $5 to get in.
And this is true.
And even if they did, we have security.
I can see me, Coop, and Corey. Yeah, I can see me, Coop, and Corey dealing with problem children. It's like, where's that Bigfoot gifting site again?
Now, be nice. Now, the big
bodies. What bodies?
Yeah, I know. When did I meet you last? Right. Now, the war, on the other hand, a gifting site of humans might be an idea.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into a question now, and it goes back to the beginning of the show when I was on a rant. And we've asked this question before, a year ago, and maybe even this year. How do you fix the paranormal.
Well, I can only speak from my standpoint, but one way is if somebody, let's say you're in a room, in a chat room, or in a like at the Paracon, and you hear somebody come up and say, I think I've been abducted. And from that, you hear anybody give them a bad time, immediately tear a strip off the person giving the bad time. Make it less comfortable. So it would make it less comfortable for them, but by doing that, you can show the person that's having problems or is just trying to figure out what they're going through that there really is functional support there for them.
But here's the problem. I can do that in FMP, and we do that in FMP. The minute they start bad-mouthing or ridiculing, they're gone. There's no warning. There's no, you need to stop doing that. They're gone. I remove them.
Yeah.
But I'm in 40 different paranormal groups, and the problem arises when a client or a future client goes into those groups and asks for help. Whether it's, I'm being scratched by spirits, I'm being abducted by aliens, and God help them if they say that in a quote-unquote spirits-only group, because they'll be laughed right out of the room. We only deal with hauntings. This isn't an alien group because we don't believe in aliens. Never mind it says paranormal on the title of the group.
Yeah.
The abductee should be able to go into a paranormal group and ask those questions because that is paranormal.
And at the very least get directed.
Right. So I get tagged by sometimes if I get tagged in that group by an admin, that's different because it's the admin of the group. But oftentimes I'll get tagged in those groups by a former client, by another FMP member, something like that. And that's where the problem arises, because then you have all these other paranormal investigators going, why was he tagged? Well, because, it came out by the person that tagged me that, well, actually FMP is probably the best to handle the situation. And then the fight begins. And they got, in this case, they got blatantly rude. And I left the group because I don't deal with that crap. But I feel bad leaving those groups because then the clients that come in, they're going to get told it's a demon. They're going to get told it's pareidolia. They're going to get told it's a sage will fix it. They get told all kinds of crap, and the problem gets worse. And usually they'll find us 3 or 4 months later after they've gone through 2 or 3 different groups.
Yep.
Or teams.
I see that happen way too often. And unfortunately, the hard part is, and I pulled out of a lot of places. I haven't been on any of the sites for the last few months getting my own head on straight. But the problem with pulling out is it leaves the people stranded. So, that's sort of where, and it's just my thought on the idea, but that's where, for anybody listening, that we should make a point when we're in these other groups of, before the problem starts, point out, that's a problem that needs to be dealt with. Unfortunately, a lot of people in these groups don't realize it's a problem or have never put 2 and 2 together that paranormal, if you're going to call it a paranormal group, you best know what you're calling it. What you're the type of people you're drawing in.
Well, and one of the things that I see, one of the things that needs to happen, I think, at this point is, and I say at this point, is that paranormal TV, the dramatic stuff, needs to go away. It just needs to go away.
Yeah.
It's a problem. All it does is create more issues because you get more and more of the people that we've discussed before that talk about wanting to, I saw this on TV, so I'm going to go do it. we got to nip that in the bud. If things in the paranormal are ever going to straighten out, that's going to be the first thing to go. In all honesty, and then we can start working on some of the other stuff with egos and whatever else. But I really think at this point that needs to go.
Much as I agree with you, I can't see Hollywood dropping that.
No, and this is where Michael will come into play, because I mean, coming from a legal standpoint, I don't think there's anything illegal you can really do to stop them.
No. Not because of the way it's laid out. Yeah, that thing called freedom of speech.
Right, they're weekend warriors, and it's a hobby. It's not a mission, because I guess to me it's not a job. I enjoy doing what I do. I don't get paid for it, so it's not a job. So yeah, a passion, a mission, whatever you want to call it. This is full time, 24/7, 365 days a year. We don't go out looking around on weekends, or So yeah, legally, I don't think there's anything you can do.
No.
They go out and watch paranormal TV and get John and Joe and decide to form a team and go to a hot spot. That's what they usually do. Now, if that's what they want to do, by all means, great. But keep the clients out of it. If you want to go to Waverly Hills, I have no problem with the ones that want to go pay to go to Waverly Hills and quote-unquote investigate. Never mind 100 different groups have already gone there. So it's not an investigation, it's just entertainment. But
I find myself, if you want to go to a hot spot, everybody talks about these different sites and what have you. The easiest hot spot I ever found, and it's in every city I've ever heard of, is a cemetery.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got other teams that go to cemeteries and desecrate them, or they go to private property. They go to private property and they trespass, and those are the ones that give the paranormal in general a bad name, because what are you doing here? Oh, we're a paranormal investigative team. Well, did you get permission to come here? No. We need permission.
The first step.
Yeah.
You just became trespassers. Guess what?
Yeah, and those are the ones on the legal standpoint with law enforcement just gave the paranormal a black eye.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I talk about it being a hot spot, I don't mean anybody should go in and vandalize anything. Never mind trespass.
Right.
I mean, for pity's sakes, treat the place like you desire your place to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I'm a slob. I need to pretend I'm at a... No, I think in my case, treat it as if you were a guest in somebody else's home, because I throw my crap off. Yeah, no, that wasn't for me.
Nice.
Truth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Honesty
true,
is nice.
Yeah. At least you're speaking of it. It's kind of like me telling people, yeah, my office is organized. Of course.
Yeah.
Take a look at a tornado, the area after a tornado. It's about the same organization.
Yeah,
for your standards,
ad hoc chaos, and filing system.
Yeah, I can find it.
Don't touch a
people
thing.
will look at People will look at somebody like me and say, "How do you find anything?" And it's like I'll reach under a drawer. It's like, yeah, well, I knew I put this there about 6 months ago, and it's just, I know where everything is.
I did that to a place that I left, and 3 years later went back and still knew where it was all laid out.
Well, I think as far as fixing the paranormal, I just don't think it can be done, because you're dealing with human nature. And so many of the groups that are out there want to be the next Ghost Adventures. They want to be the next big thing. They think they're doing science when, probably at least 90% of them have no idea what science really is. It's not waving gadgets in the air. There's a disconnect between the reality Because face it, in a lot of cases, a paranormal investigation can be dull as.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes the evidence doesn't even. You don't get anything in real time. It's not until you go back and review that you might see something. So in real time, it's, oh my God, give me a magazine to read. I wish I could read, something to do, waiting for the action. I think TV has given this false impression that it's like a fishing show. You watch a fishing show, boy, they're reeling in a big one every 30 seconds. What you don't know is that's, 7 to 10 days of filming. Yeah, that's 7 to 10 days of filming cut down into 1.5 hour show, and those fish might have been that it looks like they caught them all in one day. It might have taken them a week.
Yeah.
So and that's very it's basically the same concept. You're looking for it's just you're not fishing for fish, you're fishing for paranormal activity. So yeah, it's not going to happen like that at all.
Not using a rod. There are ways of getting that many fish in one shot, but it isn't with a rod.
No, that would be the
dynamite.
Grenade, dynamite. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, we got to backtrack real quick because Renee's got a question in the chat room. Why cemeteries? They didn't die there.
No, they didn't. Not usually. Although I have seen a couple of cases where they did. But no, the reason is because society puts all of their attention on the cemeteries, it draws them there. Okay, that's where the issue is.
And think about it, too. They didn't die there, but oftentimes they have personal effects that are buried with them. Yep. So I would say there's an energy draw to the cemetery because, they've got a ring, they've got, jewelry, they've got something that somebody threw into the coffin with them. So there are personal effects that will be left there with them. That could be a draw to get them there.
The other thing.
So no, they didn't.
The other thing too is that people forget that when you cross over that other side, time, space, and distance becomes non-essential. Doesn't even become a thought process or an issue. The spirit can be in one place 1 second and in another place another. Literally that quick. So I mean, they may go and hang out where their body was buried at because of effects or something like that. They may go back to where they're died at. You don't know. So that same spirit could be in a house somewheres, an hour ago or something like that, and then you happen to go down to the cemetery, if you're an investigator or whatever, and you find the same spirit there. Well, yeah, took him a few seconds to get down there. He may have been waiting for you. You never know. That time and space thing just kind of goes away on that other side. And so, yeah, there's cemeteries being a hotspot. That's not an uncommon thing because the spirits can go there to see where they were buried or if they had effects there, like Cooper was saying. Any realm of possibilities.
Well, the other thing to remember here is the spirit doesn't always have to be there when you go. If that spirit desires to get a hold of the person that they left behind, it is common knowledge, even on the other side, that humans go to the cemetery to find their loved ones. Well, if you know the guy's going to be at the cemetery, if you know that somebody you want to meet for coffee is going to be at a coffee shop, if they're always going to be at Robin's Donut, Dunkin' Donuts, or they're going to be at Tim Hortons, if you know that's where they go to hang out, that's where you go. Well, the spirits have the same idea. They know people are going to go to the cemetery to talk to them and to reach out to them. So what better place to go than where the humans are going to be?
Well, somebody's bound to hear them, and a lot of times that's what they're looking for is to get their message across and someone to hear their message and help them out.
Yep.
Okay, let's move along. Michael, you've been quiet. I do want to catch your opinion about the topic we were just talking about as far as legalities go with trying to fix the paranormal issues.
Yeah, Coop, you had an interesting idea. I remember when you came up with the idea of a guideline, kind of like a suggested outline of paranormal activity research, and not that everyone would adopt it, but it would be potentially a model of how to do things and how not to do things. So the only way you can fix it is just show people by actual just explaining the better way to do things, and see if you can put that around. That's it's kind of like codifying certain behavior. It's hard to do, but it might be a good thing to propose for others to adopt.
Well, and we do have that. We have the code of conduct, and we have the psychiatric protocols. We have the boundary protocols we've developed. And any team that wants to affiliate with us has to adapt to them. Tessa with Four Corners is one. We have, help me out here, Corey. The newest one in Arkansas. Death Stalkers. Yeah, I don't see him in here tonight in the chat room. But yeah, Death Stalkers, Paranormal. They're a part of us now. And we do have training protocols. We have trainings that they have to take, and they can't charge ever a client. There's certain standards that we have a high standard to begin with. As an emergency response team, you have to have high standards. You're dealing with psychiatric issues. You're dealing with medical issues. You're dealing with, a lot of issues with clients. It's not always paranormal. It can be psychiatric. It can be medical, and we look at those. And we expect that of all any team that affiliates with us. If they don't, they're not part of the network, and that's the bottom line. But it doesn't stop the other paranormal groups. I'm not talking teams. I'm talking information groups. These are the ones that the clients go find. And, I can't stop that. I understand that. I'm just trying to find a way to, and I hate leaving these groups because, we're not the only team that fixes things. I understand that. I know it sounds like it when I say it that way, but, I see so much crap in these groups and the way they treat clients, that I get disgusted. I leave. And, you just hope, and I believe in fate, I believe in destiny, I believe clients will find you when they're supposed to. And that's usually how it happens. But I can't stress enough, about 9 out of 10 clients, when they do find us, are in tears and terrified. And again, like I said, they've already had a team or two, even gone to clergy, and the clergy said, you're crazy, and, God will take care of it. Not always. Religion to me is a bane. It's a problem, because they don't help people. They really don't.
In a lot of ways, but let's be clear that religion is as necessary as science is. And I know that sounds really odd, but it actually holds very true. But that's a whole different topic for a different point. Because that can go down a rabbit hole that is just, shall we say, it goes to China and then some.
Yeah, your and my opinion would definitely differ on that one considerably, I think.
Only temporarily, but like I said, that's a rabbit hole to chase a little later.
That might be a good show topic. That I'm basically a Christian, Taoist, esoteric. Get 3 different viewpoints and discuss where we intersect, and then get into where we are on the other end of the spectrum from each other.
Oh, I want in on that one.
I think where they intersect would be. I think where they intersect would be the human nature aspect.
Says, why do I feel like I opened one heck of a can of worms?
That was a Costco-sized can of worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking the company,
But-
not the store.
you know, getting back to science for a second, Markham. You know, you and I were talking just the other night that science is important, but the balance is important. You can't do a balanced investigation of any kind without having science, technology, and a medium.
Yeah, you really
Yeah.
can.
No, I used to think you could. I was trying to get a team set up here in Winston-Salem, and all I wanted were scientists. But over the last couple of years, I've changed my mind. Now, the problem I had with psychics is so many of them are BS artists, and in some of the groups I've been in, the so-called psychic was the chick that the guy that who was the leader of the ghost hunting club was screwing at the time. She was you get that weird group dynamic. They're play acting at being Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But I think you need somebody, I think a vetted sensitive needs to be on a team. Because one, if you're your psychic says there's something here, you take your instrumentation there and you start getting readings, you're validating each other, you're collecting data, you've got something to compare to. And what I have seen, even with the best psychics, the best sensitives, their gift is not a 100% thing. It's not like when you flick on your non-contact thermometer, it's going to work 99.9% of the time, the same way every time. I don't know any psychics or sensitives whose talent is that reliable.
No,
and that's
and
all.
I will vouch for that wholeheartedly.
Right, you got to be. There's hit and miss.
But I do like the fact that you're actually using the right term, the sensitive, or what some people call super sensitives, instead of psychic. And the reason for it is all we do is pick up on energy that other people overlook. We're sensitive to energy that other people may miss. In your field, you spot discrepancies in the readings and what have you from your instrumentation that other people with less talent to it are going to overlook. And you're absolutely right. It is not 100% of the time it works bang on the money. But
and it's also, it depends on what variety or what I look on this whole extrasensory thing as a gradient or a continuum. I tend to be an empath.
Yep.
But part of the problem with being an empath is where is my mood? Where does my mood end and what I'm picking up begin? There's that adjusting to, first off, pick up the fact that the emotions you're picking up on aren't yours. Not getting mad about something because the spirit is angry. That tends to be my problem. I pick up anger like a duct tape picks up lint. So there's times, out of nowhere this anger comes. It's not mine, and it's being trained to, whoa, that's not, that isn't mine, and not react to it. So there's so much of it is what flavor of sensitivity do you have, and then learning how to, use it,
recognize
how to hone it. Yeah, learning when is that the angry spirit, when is that me? Of course, I run around pissed all the time, so that's a pretty good guess. But
it's a very tricky thing to decipher between yours and others.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
And that's
of course, then you get your frustration levels that amplify it.
But that's also where shielding and grounding comes into play a lot. Because if you ground properly, you'll be able to eliminate those outside feelings.
Oh yeah, and I mean the really funny part with it, like with technology, with the machinery, you can walk in and you can zero in pretty quick with the good equipment where the trigger is. I'll tell you, especially if you have a multi-level sensitive, like in my case, I got the whole 9 yards and trying to figure out which one is mine and which one belongs to somebody else, or whether it just belongs to the room of that time is where it gets to be fun. Or annoying, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
But it really is a combination of them. And again, and again, this brings us right back into this. How do you deal with it from the people that say, oh, I'm going through this? How do you deal with the paranormal people that are going, well, you're nuts. I know I'm in this field and I study it and you're completely off your nut. This is
I think that's the problem. That's a big problem because we're dealing with a field where so much of what it's faith. In a way, you could call what we do a religion in that it requires faith. And there's so many different flavors, so many different colors, so many different aspects that one person can't say, well, you're nuts, because you're not in that person's head. That person may have an ability to detect something you can't. And this is the hardest thing I've had to come up with, because I have a tendency to just right off the bat, channelers are BS in my opinion. And that's a bad habit I have gotten into. And I will be the first to admit that that's, a closed part of my mind that shouldn't be. But,
well,
it's a knee-jerk reaction every time somebody says, well, they channeled this info. It's like, no, you pulled that out of your butt is my initial.
Well,
so we're all guilty of it.
Oh,
we
yeah.
all have a flavor of this field or this religion that we think is hokum.
But the important factor there, Markham, is this. From your standpoint, you started off a black and white, science is the way to answer it, and you figured out that there's a crack in that whole thing, in that whole shell. Eventually, you'll figure out the what I call the reality behind channeling. But I will still back you up 100% that, and I'm told I'm nice when I say 75% of the people working in this field shouldn't be. Right. I'm told I'm being real nice when I put it that way. That it's probably closer to 90. That are, as you put it, BS.
So we're looking at so much unvalidated, and I'll be the first to admit when I say a channeler is full of crap, I can't prove it. I mean, it's just that's how it strikes me.
Yeah.
Which is one of the problems in the paranormal altogether is this. We have our one things of it that we believe. Like I believe in ghosts, I believe in UFOs, and I believe in Bigfoot. I start to kind of, once you started getting into psychics and sensitives and some of the, that's where my skepticism requires more proof. I don't take those on faith. I require some, I require some validation on that. I've had that with a member of the FMP team describing my house when they'd never been there. So,
and that's pretty
at
much
that point, but it takes that kind of just undeniable experience to break down the resistance to believe.
Well, yeah, definitely. And the one thing I will caution everybody out there, and this applies to the entire paranormal field, or any other field for that matter, whether you are out to prove it exists or you're out to prove it doesn't, either way you'll be successful.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. If you, that's another problem. Going in with a preconceived notion, if you're looking for trouble, you'll find it. Exactly. You'll prove it either way.
It's the same thing that happens with bad science. You go in with a preconceived notion, and you will make the science fit your theory.
Yep.
Exactly. Look at phrenology. At the turn of the century, phrenology. The bumps on your head determine, and it was widely accepted as scientific fact. I would like to go into suspended animation and pop out 500 years from now and to find out if we survive as a culture that long. What we're taking for scientific fact now, that's going to be the phrenology, today's science is tomorrow's phrenology. What is out there that we are holding as canon that's just, oops, we were wrong.
I can give you one that they're holding as canon that's backwards, and that's gravity. They're looking at it backwards. That they'll prove that in about 30 years.
That sucks because I'm probably not going to live that long. Can't they boost it? I want them to figure out anti-gravity while I'm still young enough to enjoy it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Keep that in mind and remind me when I get out concrete, and I'll explain it to you as best I can as to why I say they're looking at it backwards.
Okay. Looking forward to that.
Well, I figure we're going to be out there for a bit. We might just well go down some rabbit hole. you know? It would have been nice when I was just a young teenager to have somebody like you that I could have explained the triple helix to, so I didn't have to wait 25 years for them to figure it out.
And it's still pretty much, even in my field, we are not discussing the triple helix. We are still discussing double-stranded DNA.
Yeah, and
it still hasn't hit the biological sciences in practice yet.
Right now I think it's still sitting in theory. And the funny part about it is late 1998, early 1999, they discovered it. Like, they finally uncovered it. Which wasn't bad. I mean, I was only talking about it in the 70s. But the paranormal field, trying to get people to realize that paranormal simply means kind of normal.
Other than normal.
Yeah.
So we're coming down.
It's defined. You can look it up, and it actually talks about how they've accepted it. That it's the DNA structure. There's 3 oligonucleotides that wrap around each other instead of the standard double helix.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's this extra strand that hangs on, and then it all gets coiled up.
So I got to cut in here because we're actually down to about the last 10 minutes of the show. Actually, less than that because we got to, wrap up music and whatnot. But I want to jump in and, Michael, go ahead and tell us where they can find UFO I-Team and your new show.
Yes, they can join the UFO I-Team at any time on Facebook at UFO I-Team. And, of course, they can check out our webpage at ufoiteam.com. And the Night Dreams talk radio show that I am going to be hosting will be every Sunday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And all you do to find that very easily, of course, it's on all the apps. It's on Spreaker. It's on iHeartRadio and everything like that. But you can just go to nightdreamstalkradio.com, and it'll pop right up with a page you can listen immediately.
All right, sounds good. Let's see, Tess, you've got Spaced Out Radio Sunday nights, and where can we find Four Corners as well?
It's Four Corners Paranormal Investigations.com is our website, and you can also find us on Facebook. So yeah, those are the two main places you can find us.
And what are you talking about tomorrow night on Spaced Out Radio?
Tomorrow night
tonight,
we're
I guess.
tonight we're talking to a psychic, and she's also supposedly a channeler. So that may be mostly what we're talking about. But yeah, she's called rock and roll psychic, which I'm not sure what exactly that means. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, it sounds pretty interesting.
What time is that?
Yeah.
That's 9 Pacific time, right?
Yep.
Well, I don't know if
9,
it's right. I was
9
hoping you could
Pacific.
tell me.
Yep, 9 Pacific to midnight.
Oh, all right. And Keith, where can we find your astrology? And I know you have YouTube.
Well, YouTube is at R. Keith Andrews, and that's obviously at YouTube. And right at the bottom of that, you'll find all the rest of it listed. But you can find me also at Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca is my email address. It's the easiest way to find me. And, of course, on Facebook.
And now we can pull Markham. Markham, where can we find the Fringe FM?
Look it up it's the Fringe FM digital media. And look up shows like Rich Giordano, and look up Joe Roop and his show Lighting the Void, one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. And if y'all haven't heard a Rich Giordano show, when he does a mockumentary, it is hilarious.
Yeah,
awesome. Giordano's awesome. He's been on S4 before.
Yeah.
He's one of those unique skeptics. But he's a skeptic I like, because, you've got skeptics and you got debunkers. Skeptics have an open mind that they're only skeptics because they haven't seen it yet. Debunkers, they got the closed mind that it's a demon. That's it. It's a demon. Nothing else. And they'll never. You could have a Pleiadian in your front yard shaking your hand and, "Go away, demon! Demon, be gone!" And that's a debunker.
Yeah, that works really well if you're talking to a demon. You're completely hooped if you're not.
Well, I always see that scene in the movie Paul where the religious fanatic blows the chest out of that guy because he's shooting he's trying to shoot the E.T. demon.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and for those that have not found Forest Moon Paranormal yet, go on Facebook and just look for us on Forest Moon Paranormal, or go to www.forestmoonparanormal.spruz.com. That's SPRUZ.com. And so we do have Paracon September 22nd. We have a Bigfoot expedition July, I want to say 16th to 18th. All the details are in the group. And we have our Sky Watch with UFO IQ in August. Next week, we've got the team show. The Forest Moon Paranormal team will be on, talking about the month and trends. And it's always a fun show, too, because we have, Michael talking UFO reports and whatnot, which correlates to some of what we see here.
Nice.
It's always fun when reports correlate to what we have witnesses that see.
Yeah,
because then you have
the ultimate corroboration.
Right, because you have multiple witnesses. The individual experiencer thinks they're the only one. But then when they see it on New Fork or Filer's Files, which are the only two, to me, reputable reporting sites, you know, then all of a sudden they find out there were hundreds of people from all over that saw the same thing. So on that note, let's go ahead and wrap it up, Corey.
Okay, I can do that. That's an easy thing to do, especially at this time of night. Isn't getting tired for sure. All right. I would like to thank our panel tonight, Eric Markham, our FMP scientist, R. Keith Andrews, astrologist and alien specialist, Michael Hall of UFO I-Team, and special guest Tessa Nicole Thomas Peterson of Four Corners Paranormal and Spaced Out Radio's Sunday night host, Jack Miles, our military veteran and former port commissioner. Join us next Saturday at midnight Pacific Standard Time as we have our monthly team show. You can find us on Spreaker.com, SpacedOutRadio.com, and The Fringe FM. And for local listeners, KSVU 90.1. I would like to thank all of our listeners because without you, there is no S4. Good night, and remember, keep your eyes to the skies.
You got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me.
Celebrate friendship and beyond during the first ever Pixar Fest with the all-new Pixar-themed fireworks spectacular and your favorite park parades. Celebrate from April 13th through September 3rd, only at Disneyland Resort. Visit Disneyland.com for details.
There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. You got a friend in me.
Entertainment subject to change without notice.